Hello everybody and welcome back to another Town Hall Roadmap Roundup. Russ talking bullshit for fucking 4 hours. And this is from April 1st, 2016. Now, let's get all the first thing out of the way, which they had to stress. There will be no jokes in this one. I think Russ is incapable of jokes anyway. So, there was no worry about that. And I'm going to kick right off and let everybody know who may just be waiting for what the next mech is, because they took 3 hours to announce it. It's the Dragonfly. It's the next clan mech. It's going to be a solo pack, so expect $20 base, $40 for the special version, and however much they charge for like a hero and probably a reinforcement pack. The usual stuff. I'm going to guess about $85. So if you're not familiar with the Dragonfly, it's a 40 or 45 ton clan medium that was in with the initial wave of clan mechs, and it's more built around speed than doing a lot of damage compared. So it's a bit more of a scout mech, lots of jump jets and some decent builds though. So yeah, for all those clanners, it's going to be good news. And the other thing about the Dragonfly is that it's one of the originals, so it's nice to see that finally appearing in a MechWarrior game. I think this is the first time the Dragonfly has appeared officially, obviously outside of mod packs and the such, so nice stuff. And the artwork is available on the forums. I will probably grab the image and stick it in at some point. I'll probably stick it in while this is rambling over the top. So, he kicks off. They talk about Phase 3 of Community Warfare. That's going to be the big deal of April. That's pretty much taken up all the patch space. I'm looking at my notes here. It's still on for the April release. They've got about 30 to 40 bugs that they're working on. It's scheduled to be released with the April 19th patch, but there is the chance that it could be delayed a week or two if there are more bugs that they feel would hold the mode back. Fair enough. You don't want something broken to come out, especially for something that they're really pinning a lot of hopes for with Phase 3 Community Warfare. And obviously, past Town Halls have gone through a lot of the features of that, so I'm not going to reiterate them here. What else does he go on about here? He talks a long time. I mean, luckily I've got other cliff notes that I can kind of look at in case there's anything I missed or whatever for this. This is useful. Yeah, they talk a lot about how Phase 3 is going to be amazing, although to be honest, I still think there's going to be a low population. It's just a fact of the game at this point. Interesting fact was Phase 3 is the last sort of phase release of Community Warfare. There won't be a Phase 4, instead it'll then be more regular updates that will add maps and features and stuff. So that'll be interesting to see where they go with that. Just looking at the other notes, I don't think there was anything else there. There was a question that came up then, will dropships in Community Warfare still have the same firepower? Because obviously it's a popular tactic now for winning teams to camp the drop zone, and Russ said no. Basically, they're too focused on the new features for Phase 3, so dropship camping and balancing of dropships will remain the same, unfortunately. They're hoping to fix it after they released Phase 3 in what they like to call the triage stage, where they'll be hotfixing and adjusting things on the fly post-launch. Someone asked about unit coffers and will they have any use. Russ didn't really know offhand. That's not surprising though, let's face it. He said that coffers can be spent to improve defences on planets, i.e. it'll add more segments to make it harder to capture the planet as a whole and give defenders a higher percentage, hopefully. And C-bills will also be required in unit coffers for recruitment of members. This is all part of his ploy to break up the big groups, because he doesn't want a situation where the big groups sort of have like 20 or 30 guys drop out and go into the solo queue and recruit, because it'll cost the big groups a fortune to recruit them back into the unit. This is how he thinks it's going to work. I think he's massively underestimating the amount of spare C-bills some people have got. I mean, I'm a solo player for most of the time, and I've got over 200 million C-bills. And I imagine when you're looking at units like Mercstar and such, they must have hundreds of millions just as spare cash that they can dump into coffers and not even really feel it. So I don't think this is going to work. Don't know if he says anything else. There's no size limit for units, though. So there's no worry about, like, oh, you'll have to make Merc Stars 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that kind of thing. They'll just be one big unit if that's what you want to be. But Russ thinks, oh, it's bad for the mode. He thinks it's bad for the mode because it means there's less teams to fight over planets. but again, that's population issues. Someone asked for, will there be any faction-specific camo? Now, this was an interesting question, because I've asked this several times on past town halls, and I've had responses from NGTV who've said, of course they have them. Oh, they're all legit. Yeah, blah blah. But strangely enough, someone else's random question gets through, and Russ doesn't have any strong answer other than he says the resources for adding a single new camo is quite intensive. Yeah, I agree with him. There's a lot of mechs in the game now, so you have to make sure that camo works across every single chassis. He claims that there's still a backlog that they're getting through. Obviously, we still haven't got all of the faction camos for the original mechs prior to them adding them, so yeah, it's a case that they just haven't got enough people, really. And he does plug that they are looking for a texture artist, amongst other hires, to try and get on, more people on that particular task. There's no roadmap at the moment for April, because he hadn't finished it, because he says he's been quite busy with the Phase 3 launch, so it'll probably be up, but it's not going to be like anytime soon, apparently, probably a week or so. What else did he talk about? Oh yes, he then goes on about the new solo queue in CW. He confirms that solo player matches will be capable of flipping planets. Now this is controversial, because obviously big units who work very hard to capture planets from other big units now run the risk of solo groups, I guess. If there's enough of them playing on one time on one of your worlds and there's no other big units for you to fight in defense, you can't defend against solo players because the two queues are split. So yeah, I think that's going to cause a few issues. It wouldn't surprise me if they removed that function not long after launch, because I think there's going to be a lot of the big units who are going to be a bit pissed about losing worlds due to solo play. As I got here, he tries to alleviate the anger by saying that solo players don't get the same rewards. I don't think solo players give a shit. If they want to be in units, they'll go in a unit if they really want those like tiny mech credit rewards. And remember, mech credits from planets are doled out by the unit leaders, so if you're in a big unit anyway, I mean, there's unless you know the person in charge, or unless they have a system of handing out 1 or 2 mech credits like every week or something, there's not really going to be that big a gain from it all. Question came about mech collisions. Will they return to the game? And this was a weird one, actually. If I remember correctly, I think Russ sort of approached it by saying that the engine or the tech wasn't there, which had me baffled because it was there originally. But I think he was trying to say that proper collisions, like what he imagines he would like to see, the tech isn't in that CryEngine version that they're using, and that they would like to be able to one day reintegrate collision systems and make it a bit better than it was originally. I don't know. I mean, he was very vague. He said it's not impossible though, but then he said that about a lot of things. But at least he didn't outright say no. Yeah, got my notes here, just going over if there was anything. There was some new changes for smaller engines on the latest mechs. He gave an example of like a Locust with an XL 180 actually gets some improved heat dissipation, so it can be on similar ground with things like Jenners and Spiders and that. They still need 10 heat sinks. It just means that they now get proper heat dissipation rather than having a penalty for being so small. It only affects engines, I think I've got written down, sub 250. So anything below 250 rating will have this improved heat efficiency. Anything above is unchanged. They're bringing in some slight structure quirk changes for certain chassis. PPCs will get another velocity increase and heat dissipation increase, and there's not really much else coming from that. Tournament cockpit items will go on sale. I think he was saying they're going to be about $10 for a pack, and these will be items that will go in your cockpit. And while the esports tournament that they're running soon is on, it will generate extra cash. Every pack paid gives extra cash to the prize pool, and while you have these cockpit items active in your mech, you get a bonus XP for buying them. So I don't know. I mean, do you really? I look at it cynically. Do you want to put $10 in for a bunch of really hardcore players to get extra cash for playing, and what you get some XP? I don't really see it. I could see obviously the tournament players put it in, but I don't see why I should put $10 in, because I get like a cockpit item that's useful for a very, very narrow window. What's the point? Oh yeah, that was a weird one. They're thinking of putting in a system post-match if you haven't got premium time, and the reward screen will say this is how much you could have got with premium. They're going to add a little button that you can pay like one-off mech credits to get that extra amount. So you won't activate premium time, but you'll pay to get that XP. Don't know how well that'll work, but I'm assuming other games do it. So Russ then moves on to the tournament itself. He starts talking about how the site is finished, but at the timing when they did it, it was near the end of the week. There was no point in putting out a press release, and it was April Fool's. And obviously PGI is kind of a joke anyway around the few media sites that even bothered to report on them. So I guess for them to put out a proper press release, most people would kind of think, nice one guys, funny. But yeah, so Tuesday they will be opening up the tournament site. All questions about the tournament will apparently be answered there. Team sizes, how many people on your team have to be from that area of the world. So if you're an EU team, how many in your team have to be based in the EU, how many can be from anywhere else. All that shit, all the interesting stuff if you're going to be playing this tournament. Let's see. Oh, there's also a bonus great announcement. I think they even used the George Lucas, it's going to be great. They used that line, all three of them. It was amazing. I just couldn't get that out of my head then. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Yeah, no, it's going to be great. The command rows will be added, or the comma rows, so you can ping the map. Russ was talking about it like it was some kind of new cutting-edge technology that's been around since, I don't know, fucking Battlefield 1942 or something. Basically, if you ping, I need help, or attack here, or enemy spotted, it'll show up on the minimap, but also show up on the battle grid, and he wants to redo the battle grid so it'll be more... how did he say it? It was higher fidelity. I think he wants it to be more detailed, so you can sort of get a better idea where people are on the map and what grid. So it's something new, which is good. Let's see. Rescaling is still on for June, and everything should be done by then. They are getting through those quite well. Decals, which Russ insists on calling decals for some reason. I like that there was a bit, I think, where one of the NGNG guys tried to spin it off like, the community's really taking to calling them decals now, Russ. They're really behind you on this one. No, most people will call him a fucking moron in the chat because you can't say the word decals. Yeah, they got pushed back a bit, unfortunately, but they're supposed to be out in May, now they're June. The next map to get a rework is Frozen City. Obviously quite a popular map, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Their reworks have been really good, and I don't see Frozen City being any different there. There was discussion about adding a replay system, mostly for not just comp teams, but also it's good for streamers and YouTubers, and the ability to obviously do things like detach a camera and rotate it around a flight. It'd be useful for me if I wanted to do like Lore Warriors and stuff, that have something a bit more interesting in there. But sadly, Russ pretty much shut the idea down and said that their version of the CryEngine isn't capable. They need to make some new tech, or they need to use something from an older game to use it, whatever. It's in there because they use it. I don't know. I mean, yeah, whatever. It's probably. I think it was just a bullshit answer. People were asking about how big the comp teams are going to be. We already know, but if you don't know, it's 8v8 with 4 subs. So there's 12, but only 8 players will be in a match of your team. And if the finalist teams, when they get flown over to Canada or wherever they're going to hold this, only the 8 players who will be finalists will have their travel paid for. Another question was there going to be any chat system updates? Things, obviously, like a lot of games have these days, like a general chat that will always be scrolling and you can sort of talk to people, and being able to have sub-tabs and seeing the chat when you're in like Mech Lab and stuff like that. No information. Russ went off on a meandering diatribe, didn't go anywhere. Someone asked would there be a mech credit bounty system. Everyone liked the idea, but I see how it works in a traditional MMO where it's an open world. Like if you're playing Eve and some guy fucking blows your ship up, you can put a bounty on that guy and players will go after them. But in MechWarrior, I mean, isn't it just completely random whether you see that person? And you could just be some random player who kills some other player, and the next thing says, "Oh, congratulations, you've earned this bounty." So I don't know. Yeah, there was another question came up again about us having a solo spectator cam, and yeah, they're not really up for that. A question about whether the heat scale update was still on time. Russ didn't have any real info. In fact, he kind of downplayed it from the previous town hall where he was very sort of gung-ho, yeah, this is great, I'm really looking forward to it. Now he's sort of like, oh, yeah, we'll get around to it, maybe June or July. So that wasn't great. There was a big thing about Zero Sum related to PSR. Now, I'm not going to claim that I have any real fucking understanding of Zero Sum, because they didn't. Russ didn't understand it, and the NGNG guys didn't understand it. The chat, the people who were talking about it understood it, and they were shouting at them saying, you don't understand what we're talking about. Suffice to say, it's something that Russ might actually have to have a discussion with those folks about. But from what I could gather, it was basically the current PSR system doesn't work for matchmaking, and they're using Zero Sum, and it's not a great system, basically. So, yeah, if you want to put in the comments a description of Zero Sum for idiots like myself, yeah, go ahead. Someone asked would there be random spawn points for maps in the future when you drop in public, which would be kind of cool because it'd be a bit more dynamic where the two teams appeared on the map. It would keep things a bit more interesting. Russ said no, but he did say that when you move people around on the scoreboard as the company commander, it will actually change where you spawn now, which is nice. A question came up about will pink paint ever be added? It's not off the table. They didn't see it as a important thing, but I mean, as another note here says that they were worried about making the game look immature. I don't think so. I mean, there are several pretty famous mech warriors who've had pink on their mechs in some way. I mean, Rhonda Snord. I mean, she had pink. So just looking through these other things to get specific. Oh yeah, the zoom module will now be zooming and zoom module will now be client side. So you won't have the lag when you input the command, which is good because that was one of your main indicators when you were lagging. I noticed that when you pressed the button to zoom, if there was like a half-second delay, you knew you were having a high ping. Let's see if there was anything else. Yeah, they were talking about they got some new hires, level designers. He was saying the team is growing. This is talking about Solaris as well, possibly coming after Phase 3. But he wasn't. I don't remember him being particularly detailed about it being Solaris. What else are we talking about? Yeah. Oh yeah, skill trees. Yeah, that was. I only took a quick note on that one. Skill trees are apparently up for review after Phase 3, but apparently so are like 7 or 8 other things. And since PGI is sort of working a kind of like, okay, everybody does this, and then everybody does this kind of system, there's no kind of spread of the workload across different areas, so it wouldn't surprise me if straight after Phase 3 and they patch it and they hotfix it and they monitor it, they'll probably go, right, now everyone's going to work on Frozen City, now everyone's going to work on this mech, now everyone's going to work on decals, now everyone's the rescale and all that shit, you know. So I don't keep your hopes up, or don't get your hopes up about Phase 3 being particularly quick for them to get out of the way and suddenly moving on to fixing out the skill system. Oh yeah, final point that was made about Community Warfare was you won't have a loyalty point reset when they launch Phase 3, so whatever you've earned you keep, and there won't be a Battle of Tukiad 3. They won't be doing a third event. So that's it. That was Town Hall of April Fools 2016. Obviously, if you were there for the mech, you know, Dragonfly, it's kind of cool. Looking forward to that one. And Phase 3, if you're mad keen on Community Warfare, there was some new information, not much. It was actually kind of a quiet one for Phase 3 and a Town Hall in general. Really, there wasn't a hell of a lot of big information, but still, you know, April is going to be an interesting time for PGI, I think, with the Community Warfare supposedly coming up to this point that Russ imagines CW will kind of be at that level they, I guess, initially imagined it to be years back. So I don't know how the solo queue is going to work in regards to territory switching and how the big units are going to respond. Obviously, I think population is still going to be one of their biggest issues. It's going to be their toughest thing to overcome. I do like the idea of the solo queue as a kind of introduction, but as people were saying, it's going to be hard to recruit some of those solo players into the units if they can't play with them. And other than having a leaderboard system where all the big groups can look at who's top of the leaderboard and that kind of thing, yeah, I don't know. It's something they're going to have to work on. See, this is where a chat thing would probably be useful, you know, like a global chat. So yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Let us know what you think in the comments below about different things, the new mech, the Phase 3, skill resets, all the rest of it. So yeah, have a good one, everybody. Chris the Rocket, signing out.